6 phrases that end relationships forever. There are certain words that change everything. Words that strip away the mask and reveal who someone truly is underneath. Words that should make you gather your things and never look back. Today, we're talking about 6 phrases that some people use in relationships. Phrases that aren't just red flags, they're death sentences for love. These aren't slip-ups or moments of anger. They're glimpses into someone's true mindset, clear signals of how they actually see you. And once you've heard them, there's no unhearing them. Before we begin, let's make something clear. This isn't about blaming one gender. It's about recognizing words that expose deep incompatibility, disrespect, or emotional manipulation that makes a healthy relationship impossible. Men and women alike can use these words, but the pattern, the damage, is always the same. Because when someone reveals who they are through their words, you should believe them the first time. 1. You owe me. Not, could you help me? Not, I'd appreciate your support. But you owe me. This turns love into an invoice. Partnership becomes servitude. Affection turns into a transaction. When someone says this, they're not asking for connection. They're demanding payment. I once worked with a man whose wife constantly reminded him, "You owe me a good life because I gave you kids. You owe me happiness. That's your job as a husband." In her mind, his existence was about serving her needs. He wasn't a partner. He was a provider on command. And here's the most toxic part. This phrase is never mutual. The person who says, "You owe me," never asks, "What do I owe you?" They build a one-way debt system where you're endlessly paying for the privilege of keeping them happy. You work too much. You owe them time. You work too little. You owe them money. You breathe. You owe them peace. It's emotional debt collection. With interest rates higher than the mafia, people who use "you owe me" will weaponize everything, including your love for your kids. They'll say, "A real father would," or "If you cared, you'd." They're not appealing to your love. They're exploiting it. Because when someone says, "You owe me," what they really mean is, "I don't love you. I love what you provide." And no matter what you give, it will never be enough. Because entitlement is a bottomless pit that swallows everything and gives nothing back. 2. I don't owe you anything. Now, this might sound like the opposite, but it's not. When used as a weapon, this phrase means, your feelings don't matter. It's the anthem of someone who wants all the benefits of love without any of the responsibility. You say, "It hurts when you text your ex at 2 a.m. They say, "You're not my owner. I don't owe you anything." You say, "I feel uncomfortable when you flirt online." They say, "You're being controlling." I don't owe you anything. They're not setting boundaries. They're rejecting accountability. This phrase dismisses your needs entirely. It tells you your emotions, your comfort, your respect, all irrelevant. They'll take your effort, your loyalty, your care. But the moment you need something in return, even basic decency, suddenly they don't owe you anything. They keep you close enough to benefit, but far enough to never have to give back. 3. All men are trash. When someone says this, they're not just insulting men, they're insulting you. They're saying you're guilty by gender. You're doomed to fail. They're not in a relationship with you. They're in one with their bitterness. Everything you do is filtered through that lens. Forgot something? Typical man. Work late? You only care about work. Show emotion? You're weak. stay stoic. You're cold and heartless. It's a lose-lose. This isn't about hurt. It's about identity. Some people make their pain their personality. Instead of healing, they build their self-worth on victimhood. You can spend years trying to prove you're different, but you'll never convince someone who's committed to seeing you as the enemy, because they're not looking for love. They're looking for proof that all men really are what they believe. 4. I'm just a girl. Sounds harmless, right? It's not. This isn't humility. It's manipulation. It's a get-out-of-accountability card disguised as innocence. I'm just a girl. I'm bad with money. I'm emotional. I can't help it. I'm a woman. You should understand. It's weaponized helplessness, pretending to be weak when it's convenient. They're powerless when it means avoiding responsibility, but magically strong when it's time to get what they want. One man told me his partner would constantly make reckless decisions and shrug it off with, "I'm just not good with this stuff. I'm a girl." She was 38, but she acted like a child. Because children aren't held accountable, this behavior feeds on your protective instincts. It turns your kindness into control, your empathy into obedience. 5. If you loved me, you would... This one cuts deep. It's emotional blackmail dressed as affection. If you loved me, you'd buy me that. If you loved me, you'd stop talking to your friends. If you loved me, you'd prove it. This isn't love, it's control wrapped in guilt. Each time you give in, the bar moves higher. You buy the bag. Next, it's a car. You skip a night out. Next, it's cutting off your friends. You'll keep sacrificing until there's nothing left of you. And still, it won't be enough. Real love doesn't demand endless proof. Real love doesn't test. It trusts. The moment someone makes love conditional, they're not loving you. They're managing you. 6. Just leave then. Said during arguments, casually thrown out like it means nothing. This isn't freedom. It's a threat. It means, do what I want or go. It's emotional blackmail in its purest form. They don't expect you to actually leave. They expect you to panic and submit. But the moment you finally call their bluff and walk out, they're stunned. Because just leave was never meant to be real. It was meant to remind you who holds the power. What these phrases really mean. Each phrase reveals a worldview. You owe me. You exist to serve. I don't owe you anything. You don't matter. All men are trash. You're condemned before trial. I'm just a girl. Accountability doesn't apply to me. If you loved me, I'll use love to control you. Just leave then. I value winning over connection. They start subtly, almost playfully, then grow bolder as you get more attached. By the time they say them openly, you've been conditioned to accept them. That's how slow emotional erosion works. And they'll mix cruelty with kindness. A hug after a verbal wound. A sorry, I didn't mean it, after every cut. Creating a cycle of trauma bonding. You cling to the good moments, hoping they'll outweigh the bad. But they never do. Healthy partners speak differently. They say, I'd appreciate it if, instead of you owe me. I need some space, instead of I don't owe you anything. I feel hurt when, instead of gender attacks. I'm sorry, instead of I'm just emotional. Let's talk about it, instead of just leave. Healthy partners don't manipulate. They communicate. They take responsibility. They build connection through respect, not fear. The harsh reality. If you're hearing these phrases, this isn't miscommunication. It's disrespect, plain and simple. You can't fix it by loving harder. You can't change someone who enjoys control, because people who speak like this don't want a relationship. They want domination disguised as love. Over time, you stop speaking up. You stop having needs. You start apologizing for existing. Until one day, you don't even recognize yourself. But the moment you stop accepting it, the healing begins. What you must remember: these phrases are not just words. They are choices. And every time you accept them, you teach that person you'll tolerate disrespect. You deserve better. A partner who expresses needs without debt, sets boundaries without cruelty, and loves without manipulation. If you've been saying these phrases yourself, this is your wake-up call. You're not being emotional or honest. You're being abusive. Own it. Fix it. Get help. Because love without respect isn't love. It's control. Final truth. Words expose beliefs. Beliefs reveal character. When someone says, "You owe me," they see you as property. When they say, "I don't owe you anything," they see you as disposable. When they say, "All men are trash," they see you as doomed. These are not communication styles. They're confessions. Every day you spend with someone who speaks this way is a day you're not free to heal, grow, or find peace. So don't argue. Don't plead. Don't explain. Just leave, because the person who truly loves you will never use words that destroy you. They'll never make love feel like labor. They'll never make connection feel like captivity. They'll never turn affection into ammunition. These 6 phrases don't just end relationships, they bury them. The only question is, will you stay for the funeral or walk away before the burial?